Thank you. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Deputy Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Sure. Supervisor Moore.
Present.
Councilwoman McNamara.
Here.
Councilman Iaceli.
Here.
Councilman Pell.
Present today.
And Councilman Scavone.
Present.
Thank you. All right, we're going to start the work session today with a presentation on pilot payments by our sole assessor, Lisa Gore, on the specifically with respect to the Quiog NRP project. Come on up. I have to really start from scratch on this, how this works for some of us.
All right, so I'll tell you what I know. I was contacted back in 2021 by Nelson Pope and Burgess, I believe it was, to provide assessment and tax impact information on the individual units. So that is what I did. Provided that information in 2021 based on the gross rents by unit type.
Where did you get that information about the rents?
I got that from Nelson, Pope, and Voorhees. They provided me with a spreadsheet that indicated what the gross rents were going to be for the individual unit types based on the number of bedrooms, baths, etc. So with that information, I was able to arrive at the assessments using the income capitalization method, which you take the gross annual rents and then you apply a expense and vacancy loss to that, and then you
Wait, can you explain that a little bit more? So you take the gross rents that they
annual
will provide,
gross rents,
they gave you.
you allow, typically it's like a 25% expense, and then a vacancy, which is usually around 5 to 7% vacancy allowance.
Is this the method that you use in other parts of the county? This is like the method.
What does that mean?
Standard for commercial properties.
Is that for the one unit or all the units put together?
That would be all units put together. You take the gross rents of all units.
But the 5% vacancies, all the units?
All of them, yes.
What does it mean when you say you're allowing for a 25% expense?
Well, they have expenses that incur. You have the expenses that they allow for they have not attorney fees.
Closing?
Just, excuse me?
Closing like
No, it's not closing fees. It's just expenses that you incur on on any rental property.
you
So that
take that
comes-
off?
Carrying costs, maintenance fees.
Maintenance
It's a whole
fees,
category
exactly.
of
And
things.
that comes off the
Yeah.
taxes?
No, it's not. Doesn't come off the taxes. You
But-
take that off of the gross
Gross.
rents.
Okay.
Right.
What figures? for
Right.
Taxes?
And then you add a cap rate. Cap rate's
Yeah.
usually between 9.5% to 10%, and then that will give you the assessment or the market value.
Well, where does that 25% come from? Is that state law?
It's pretty much standard. It's what we use for all of the commercial properties in the town. We use a 25%.
And this is with the school tax?
This is with
Yeah.
everything.
To
This-
determine assessment.
Right, to
It touches
determine the
everything.
assessment,
Assessment,
yeah,
that's how
so
the
these school
school
taxes
taxes
would
apply.
apply, yes. The assessment would apply to the school tax,
Okay.
yes.
Oh, so you're saying even if this weren't affordable housing or there was no special request made, you
That's
all
still
would
how
always
you
take
arrive at the
the
assessment.
gross rents
yes.
and reduce it by a 25%.
Regardless if it's affordable. But the rents that were used, that were given to me, I assume are based on rents that would be afforded to affordable homes. It must be a discounted rent, I would assume.
Okay, I didn't know about that 25 and 5 to 7, but
Mhm.
that's what we always do for commercial properties.
It's standard.
I have another question. So, this is for all commercial rental property? And if
That
this-
we use, that when using the income
Yeah.
method, the income capitalization method.
It doesn't really apply for this, but it might apply for other cases. If there's like stores below and affordable apartments above it, you have to break out the stores or the stores?
Yes, you break them out separate based on the use.
Well, when you say when using the income method, is there a different method that sometimes we use?
You could use the comp sales, which is basically used for residential properties.
Oh, so since this is
Or
rentals,
you could use
there's
the
no
cost
cost.
method for new construction. But for commercial properties, the typical method of assessment is usually the income capitalization method.
Is that what other municipalities use
Yes.
generally, or is that?
Yes, they would,
That's it,
yeah.
that's, right.
Mhm. Commercial properties, they're typically rented, so you
Mhm.
would want to use a method where you would include the rents for that building or that type of commercial property, whether it's retail, restaurant, office.
Okay, so this assessment is gonna be at 100% of the value, whether it was.
Right,
It's,
I would arrive at the value whether or
Uh-huh.
not it's affordable or not. You still have to come up with the assessment.
right. So the term pilot, right, it's an acronym, payment in lieu of
Payment in
taxes,
lieu of
like
taxes,
the
right.
sentence kind of indicates that maybe they're not paying the taxes that they should, but that's not the case, right? They're requesting the
Right,
full
the tax
assessed value.
information that I gave them, it's based on the full assessment, and that tax amount is built into the pilot agreement. The pilot agreement has not yet been executed,
Mhm.
but I do have a sample pilot that was provided to me.
From
they would
who?
take-
Nelson Pope?
Yes,
And how many other commercial rental properties are in the town?
we got about 3,000,
About
3,300.
3,000. This applies to all 3,000 is using this?
Not all of them. If we don't have the rents available, then we'll use the comp sales method.
Okay.
Or the cost method.
Yeah, you don't have that breakdown. How many?
No.
No.
No. So the tax that the proposed market value that I arrived at using that methodology came in around $13 million, with an assessed value of $8,212,000. That's because of the equalization rate. So the assessment would not be based on the full market. With that, the estimated taxes based on the 2024 current tax rate came in around $71,657.55. And with the pilot, it does state in the agreement that it allows for a 2% increase annually. And I believe the term of the pilot is for, I think it's for 30 years.
You know what, there was no date on that to say when it stopped.
It just says 30 years, so, but I
Did you see
believe it
that?
says that.
Oh, because in the resolution it doesn't say that,
Oh,
so
okay.
maybe that was just
It's in
an
the
oversight.
agreement,
Yeah.
it says 30 years and 8
It's 30
months.
years.
All right, we should, well, when
From
when
the
it comes
date the
to it.
town issues a certificate of occupancy.
30 years from the date we issue.
Now, in the resolution that we have prepared, the number is 78,000.
That was based on the 2023 tax rate. I did provide them with an updated tax in October of 2024.
Okay.
Because
what-
again, that 78,000 was based on last year's equalization rate of 69
So you
and a
use
half.
the
Our
current.
EQ rate is now 63, so that amount's gonna,
Do we need to change that in the resolution?
yes.
What's
you
the
would.
exact
If you're
amount?
using if you're using the 78,000, I would put in the resolution the current amount.
Could you say it again, please? The amount?
71,657.55. And that would be the annual tax for
Okay.
2 years, plus the 2% increase.
That's for 79 units.
Yes.
It's pretty bad. We need affordable housing, but it's a lot of affordable housing in one area, because you have to educate a child, it's like 50,000,
Mhm.
and that can really put a big damper on a school district. I mean, you have 80 units, and half of them have kids, two
Mhm.
kids. That's a lot of kids.
Well,
in one area. I think the previous town board should have made, like we're trying to do now, smaller. It's a couple here, a couple there, but putting 80 units in one area is a lot, or 79 units.
The teachers union in West Hampton has actually reached out asking when this project is going to come online, because they have such decreasing numbers of enrollment in West Hampton Beach. They're now cutting teachers and programming.
But the school superintendent did come to some of the public hearings in the past and was concerned about the
Prior to
the
this year's
taxes.
budget, when they cut
Yeah.
teachers
They-
and programming.
I mean, I can say,
Well-
even if a condominium subdivision were to go in there, condominiums are assessed at like half of what market rent of
Yeah.
the market is. So you could put a 80 unit single family
Yeah.
subdivision in there, and they could sell for $1 million, but they could be assessed at $1 million. You put a condominium complex in there, and those assessments are only half of that or even
Yeah.
less.
Hmm.
So, because again, it's based on
Yeah.
the rents. Condominiums are based on using the income capitalization method,
You have to
and
be
it
fair
comes
to,
in a lot lower,
you have to be fair to the people, but also have to be fair to the school district.
right?
Well, there's a couple of ways to look at that with the school district. When you have declining enrollment, like all of our districts do, with the
Mhm.
exception of two in the town, or in fact, on the South Fork, we're all losing schools. What happens is, because there are fewer students, the schools are not able to offer the course selections in the curriculum that they would like to. If you only have 4 students in your AP Bio class, it's hard to run the class. So actually having more students in those classes to fill those seats, could offer a richer educational experience. And I understand the cost in it. I spent a career in education, so it's well founded. So I think that with the fact that our schools are in population decline, I mean, that is a consideration, but in my view, it's not the main consideration.
Lisa, could you explain pilots, just for the public's edification, exactly what it is?
So, like Councilman Schiavone said, it's a payment in lieu of taxes. So
Right.
in order not to take the taxes or the assessment completely off the roll, it's an agreement to provide some sort of revenue in place of the tax.
Because
The-
affordable
the-
housing in some places, they're actually eligible to be taken off of the tax rolls.
Correct.
But we're not doing that here. They are going to be paying their taxes, and they will be paying 100% of the assessed value.
Yes, they
Right.
will be paying on the full value. It's similar to that in the Tuckahoe, in Tuckahoe, the Sandy Hollow, and then in the Speonk. They pay about, I think, Tuckahoe pays $15,000 annually in the pilot, and then Speonk pays $23,000. And I believe they have the same. It's either 2 or 2.5%. It's 2% increase each year, and I think that went into effect in 2018. So.
Thank you.
And so what this resolution would do, and what we're working on here, is actually building in predictability for the applicant who is going to be pursuing grants from the state and other places, so that when they fill out the paperwork, 10 years out or 8 years out, they know how much they're going to be paying in taxes. So that's the 2% increase each year that's
Mhm.
going to be built into this agreement. And 2% is the current tax cap in New York State. I think we know that. So we might want to think of a different name instead of pilot.
Mm.
Because it's people think like that applications are not paying taxes or something, but when in fact they're paying their full amount of taxes. I mean,
Well,
assessed
maybe
value.
that's something you can think of.
We can
in this position.
come up with a different acronym. Or
Property tax stabilization.
there you
There
go.
you go.
Okay, good. Thinking about it already. I like it.
Mhm.
So I wanted you to come in and talk to the board if the board had any questions, because there is a resolution on for our
Mhm.
special meeting this afternoon.
I mean, I got an email from the school superintendent in West Hampton who said she has concerns about it, so I think that people should be given an opportunity to give their remarks on it.
So the application or but what's it? The resolution or the application
Yeah.
or the initiative in general?
On the resolution, I mean, I think she just became aware that we were doing it, so I don't know if she'll be able to come over here for public comment portion today, in advance of the resolution.
But you think we better off put it off to the next meeting? Because we don't, I don't want to be accused of pushing something through on the last minute like the previous board did.
That's twice.
Yeah.
I think we should all take a shot every time Bill says previous
Yeah.
board.
Yeah.
This
Okay, I
this
just
we
said
don't
that
have
in
to
a public
talk
meeting.
about
this
this
is
right
this
now.
is this is full tax rate. It's not.
Yeah,
It's full
not,
tax rate.
But you have people who get questions, especially if it's not the superintendent of schools, so you should give her the respect.
It's on the agenda. It's been on the agenda, and they had an opportunity.
I'm not going to
come
argue
in.
with you because you like to argue with everyone.
When did this go on the agenda? I don't even remember. I think it was Lisa. How do we confirm those numbers that they gave you? Because that was 4 years ago.
I could ask if there has been a change in the rents that they gave me. I'm looking for the page. I can tell you by unit.
When you say 13 million, that's the revenue that's going to be
That-
generated from the
13
project.
million would be the market value of the total, of all of the units. But
You
being
mean the
that we haven't-
rental income each year is 13
If they
million?
went to sell it, that would
Right,
be,
that would be the market value if they were to put the entire, put it on the market, but because of the equalization rate at 63, they're only gonna be taxed based on the 8.2 million.
Oh, I thought you were saying it was based on the income from each unit,
No, not the income, no.
not the
Right.
income.
the name income capitalization methods. Right. Lisa, can we legally charge more than what we're doing here at 70? I mean,
Charge more by,
taxes, make this 71,000, 85,000 because
If it wasn't
because
pilots
we're-
and they were just being taxed, this is what they'd be taxed.
this is what
it
they would be
still,
doing.
that would still be the tax.
We're not
And-
changing the tax.
Right, so my
Right.
question is, we would be breaking the law if we charge them any more based on your calculations. Now, we could probably redo the calculations or whatever, but we've just gone public about, what this is. There's a resolution on.
Right, this tax is based on the current tax rate using the current taxing district, so.
Okay,
And this
I don't know
increases
how you
by
would be able to-
2% every year, even
Every
if the
year.
school district didn't go the full 2%, they would still be
They would
increased
still
the
be
full
increased
2%.
To help fund the
yes.
Right.
school.
Yeah.
And that revenue goes to the school?
It's tax payments.
Right.
It's the tax levy.
So the rents that were given me in 2021 for a one-bedroom unit, the gross rent is $730. For a two-bedroom, $876. For a three-bedroom, $1,013. So I would assume that
And you
they
also,
may have increased by now.
and also for those, you have to make so much or so little to get those apartments.
Right, I'm sure it has to be based on.
Income.
Based
Income.
on, yeah, income.
People realize
Is that the amount that the owner of the property is gonna get per unit, or the amount that the tenant has to pay?
The
Because there's
tenant
gonna
has
be
to pay.
subsidies
The tenant
too.
has to pay, yes.
So would that include this, doesn't include the subsidies on each unit that would be paid, or it would?
Don't believe so.
So the tax, you don't get tax on the subsidies of it, or just what the tenant
Excuse me?
pays? You don't get, because if each unit is subsidized by the state, we don't get taxed on that, property tax.
I don't believe so.
So if the going rate, if the state's making up the difference, how much are they making out? Do you know?
That I wouldn't know.
That's what you should find out.
I don't understand what you
Doesn't
just
matter, the
asked.
property's
Would
worth
you
what
go
the
through
property
that
is worth.
again?
Yeah.
I'm like,
We're
When you
talking
say
about
we-
property value, not rents.
right. Are you talking about rent? Because
We're taxing
this
based
is,
on property
I
value,
know, I just was asking her.
okay.
but that has nothing to do with this.
So the highest rent is actually $2,554, and that's based on, it is a 3-bedroom, but it's the square footage is different. So that's also factored in. So I don't know, I think that may be still pretty low. Like I said, they provided this to me in 2021. I'm sure that maybe the income criteria has changed by now, so.
Does that
But
affect,
that won't
I can ask
affect
for that.
that won't affect what you're telling us today, right? 'Cause
It
you
could
said-
possibly affect the assessment, yes. If the income changes, then I would have to recalculate everything based on that gross income again.
Oh, even
And then
though
the
you're.
number in the
So if the
resolution has
income
to
has
change?
gone up,
Because you said it's not based on the income from the units, it's based on the value of,
but in order to arrive at the value, you have to use the income from the units.
oh, I see.
Because the income method is based on gross annual rent, so I would have to take the annual rents from all of the units to calculate the value to come up with an assessment.
So Lisa, then the number in the resolution would have to change?
Yes, it would definitely change if they were to provide me with updated income. So I could reach out to them and see if the income has changed. If it's the same, then the resolution would stay the same other than the tax amount.
so the rents are based on area median income, a certain percentage of area median income as determined by.
I would think so for the
And-
affordable.
And the area median income from last year to this year has actually gone down slightly.
Oh, okay.
Slightly. It's still in the same ballpark, but, so these numbers are calculated from 2021.
So
And
if
it's
they've gone down, then
2024.
it may be that the income, the rents may have also gone down.
Well, but from 2021, we would,
So then the rate we're charging would be higher than what it should be.
Possibly, yeah. I could reach out to them. I can send them an email. I think I can send John. I think John Schneider is his name. I can send him an email and ask if there's been any change. And then I can provide you with a more up-to-date number.
I don't have any other questions. Interesting.
Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you, Lisa.
so Lisa, just, so I understand, because we have this, on for today, and so the numbers that were calculated and the assessment that you made are based on the potential income from the rental properties in this unit.
Right.
Right.
That,
And
yeah.
so that income, because it was figured in 2021, it's 2024, the possible projected income, we really need to take another look at that.
Right, that's why I
And-
said I can email John this afternoon and see if there's been any change, and then I can provide you with a more accurate number if it has changed.
And if that number is the income or just what the tenant is paying?
Would
I
be
don't know
what the
what that
tenant is, so they would have to provide me with the income that the rents that the tenant is paying.
Mhm,
If that has changed,
mhm.
then it's going to change my numbers, and I'll provide you with that number.
Right. Theoretically, if the incomes go up, the property is more valuable, therefore the assessment is
The
is
assessment
higher.
would be higher and then the taxes would be higher.
So,
Okay.
the income of the property, is that also, that's what I was trying to say before, the income, is that what the tenant's paying, plus the subsidized, what they get from the state or for the rent?
It's the full rent, no matter how
It
it's
would
paid.
be, yeah,
So full rent.
it would be the full rent. The numbers that they gave me is the full rent.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, so what we need to do, or somebody needs to do, is to take a look at the area median income from 2021 to 2024 to see what the differences are, to give that to you. You plug it into your income capitalization method.
Yep.
You come, okay,
I'll come back with
And-
another number.
right, and it should probably be somewhere between 78 and 71,000, which would be based on full assessed value. Okay.
It would be based on assessment with the equalization rate.
Right.
We don't
But,
assess it full
exactly,
value
full
anymore.
assessed value with the equalization rate, because we went off of that in 2019, and for the boards and the world's edification, most municipalities, when I say most, 99,
Do not assess that.
and they all have equalization rates, so
Correct.
it's not like we're an outlier here.
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
You're
Thank you.
welcome.
All right,
Yeah,
Okay.
any other
get on
questions?
the phone, please.
Okay, thanks, Lisa.
You're welcome.
All right then, that brings us to the liaison updates. Cindy, do you have anything?
No, not really anything other than wishing everybody a very Merry Christmas, Happy Holiday.
Michael?
Ditto. Yeah, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. There is on December 28th, the Youth Bureau and the Anti-Bias Task Force are doing an event called Holidays Around the World. And, they'll be educating and informing the public on all the different holidays that people celebrate around this time of year. There's going to be refreshments. It's going to be at the Flanders Community Center, the Crohan Center, on December 28th from 3 to 6, and we hope to see you there.
Oh, very nice. Yeah, last night Brinka had a little holiday party at the Crowan Center, and it was very nice. They had refreshments, and everybody just sat around and just talked casually. It was nice to see everyone.
Happy holidays to everyone. And Franca I was here with Marie and her husband and my wife. Franca, it was a very nice time. The trustees had a Christmas party.
That's right.
Michael was there, and the Bay Constables were there, and a couple of people from the county and all the employees. It was a very nice time.
Very nice time.
Broke bread or brownies.
Good. John?
Happy holidays, everyone. And for those of you who are doing your last minute shopping, I would urge you to shop locally on our main streets, please. When you buy something from our local stores, you are supporting people who support our communities generally. They're Girl Scout leaders and coaches and members of our boards of education who live and work in the community and give back. So,
Amen.
pay it forward.
Hope everyone enjoys the holidays. Happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, and we'll see you at 1 o'clock for our board meeting. But for now, I'd move to go into executive session for personnel and legal advice, and then to close.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.